So last time we heard the voice of black infinity, the voice of night, of the intolerant darkness. He was asserting that nothing can exist here except the blank eternal. He is there to devour everything. He is death, he is Kali, he is Maya, and he is there to lay waste human life and human existence. Nothing can stay here. Nothing should stay here. Nothing will stay here. That is his assertion. What can abide here is only the eternal and absolute. The rest is only blank. All else is shadow and flash in our minds, a dream of our souls. Our soul is the inventor of our hopes and longings and our desires. Savitri heard this voice, but soon following this voice, she also hears another voice. Savitri is a person who at every important stage of her yogic life gets divine guidance. She is fully open to the divine source of hers, and at every stage she receives the necessary instructions. This is one of the most important instructions Savitri is going to receive, that she must annul herself totally, that only God be. The rest should not count for her at all. Awaiting the unknown eternal will, Savitri is there. And then from the heights, a great voice came down, the word that touches the heart and finds the soul. That voice is directly entering into the soul of Savitri. The voice of light after the voice of night. The cry of the abyss drew heaven's reply. A mighty storm chased by the might of the sun. And what does that voice tell? That voice tells to the soul of Savitri, O soul, bear not thy kingdom to the foe. Don't expose yourself to the enemy. You have won something very precious, and guard it from the enemy. O soul, bear not the kingdom to the foe. Consent to hide the royalty of bliss, lest time and fate find out its avenues and beat with thunderous knock upon thy gates. Kala and Niyati, time and fate, they will be chasing you to seize that royalty of bliss which you have won. They would like to snatch it away from you. Kala and Niyati, fate and time, they would like to snatch it away from you. Consent, therefore consent to hide thy bliss. Hide whilst thou canst the treasure of separate self. You are somebody unique, somebody distinct, somebody who will be haunted around for the precious things which you owe. Behind the luminous rampart of thy depths, till of a vaster empire, it grows part. Take care to conceal it from the enemy. Hold it back till of a vaster empire of the cosmos, of the humankind, of this creation, it grows, it becomes a part. But not for thyself, but not for self alone. The self is one. Yes, you have won something. You had to hold it back also. You hold it till things are properly advanced, till things have made progress. Hide while thou canst the treasure of separate self, but not for self alone. You hide it not for yourself, for self alone. That self is one. Content abide not with one conquered realm. Yes, you have conquered one realm. Don't be happy. Don't remain contented with that. You have to conquer the whole creation. The enemy who stands against it. Adventure on to make the whole world thine, to break into greater kingdoms, turn thy force. Presently, we had the kingdoms of ignorance, of suffering, pain, misery, death. We had to conquer the kingdoms of knowledge, of truth, beauty, love, joy. Adventure on to make the whole world thine, to break into greater kingdoms, turn thy force. It is for that purpose, at this stage, at this moment, you hide back, hold back what you have won. Fear not to be nothing, that thou mayst be all. It is a part of pragmatism to be nothing so that you become all. Fear not to be nothing, that thou mayst be all. Ascend to the emptiness of the Supreme, that all in thee may reach its absolute. All the qualities which are there in you as a human, those qualities have to become absolute in the supreme sense of the spirit. And for that purpose, hold back your precious gains. Ascend to the emptiness of the supreme. Well, that really seems to be the whole purpose, whole meaning, whole occult content of nirvana. Buddha's nirvana is for that purpose. Ascend to the emptiness of the Supreme, so that all may be yours. Fear not to be nothing, that thou mayst be all. Ascend to the emptiness of the Supreme, that all in thee may reach his absolute. Accept to be small and human on earth, interrupting the newborn divinity, that man may find his utter self in God. That is the whole purpose. Interrupt the moment so that man may find his utter self in God. That is the whole idea of this nirvana into which you must enter. If for thy own sake only thou hast come, if it is for your own sake, for your personal individual gain, you have come here. If for thy own sake only thou hast come, an immortal spirit into the mortal's world, you are immortal. That is your home, native place to live there. You have accepted the mortal's world. If for thy sake only thou hast come, an immortal spirit into the mortal's world to found thy luminous kingdom in God's dark. Why have come? Why this immortal has taken this mortal birth? To found kingdom, luminous kingdom in God's dark. In the inconscious realm, one shining star, one door in the ignorance opened upon light. Why hast thou any need to come at all? If it is for one door of escape you have come here, then you actually have no need for that, because by native right you possess all those things, and therefore it was not necessary for you to have taken this human birth. You have come for something else. You had to do here in this world something which will be not only for you but for the whole mortal creation. Thou hast come down into the struggling world to aid a blind and suffering mortal race. That is the purpose of your birth, to aid a blind and suffering mortal race, to open to light the eyes that could not see. The mortal eyes cannot see that light. You have come here to see that those eyes open out, to open to light the eyes that could not see, to bring down bliss into the heart of grief, to make thy life a bridge twixt earth and heaven. You are the link between this creation and the celestial realms. You have come for that, to make thy life a bridge twixt earth and heaven. If thou wouldst save the toiling universe, the vast universal suffering feel as thine, thou must bear the sorrow that thou claimest to heal. You must accept the sorrow of this. Unless you accept the sorrow of this world, how can you heal it? How can you cure the disease unless you suffer that disease? The day bringer must walk in darker night. He who saved the world must share the pain. Human comes here, the incarnate comes here, takes human birth in order to share the pain of human life. In order to share, because only by sharing that pain can be removed. He accepts ignorance. Only by accepting ignorance that it can be removed. If he knows not grief, how shall he find grief's cure? If far he walks above mortality's head, how shall the mortal reach that too high path? If one of theirs they scale heaven's peaks, men then can hope to learn that Titan climb. If a human being can climb that tall peak, that difficult peak, then there is a possibility of the rest of them to make an attempt. You have come here, taken human birth, and unless you do that, how can others do that? You are the only one who can do that, and you must do it. If one of theirs they see scale heaven's peaks, man then can hope to learn that Titan climb. God must be born on earth and be as man. That man, being human, may grow even as God. He who saved the world must be one with the world. All suffering things contain in his heart to speak. He must hold all suffering things in his heart and bear the grief and joy of all that lives. He who saved the world must share the pain. He who knows not grief, how can he cure grief? If he walks above mortality's head, how can others? If he cannot walk above mortality's head, how will others? If one of theirs they seek, scale heaven speaks, climbing, man then can hope. This is what the human Savitri has to do. It is not the omniscient goddess in the skies would come down and do it. She would not do it. She has to take the mortal birth and then do it. Omniscient goddess, she came into our skies repeatedly. Dawn after dawn had come. The divine afflatus arrived here, but again and again the messenger went back. The immortal may make an attempt to change things here, but he has to go back. He goes back. Number of attempts were made and things didn't materialize. It is only when that immortal takes a mortal birth, when comes down as Savitri, human Savitri, that things can move. So there is a difference between the omniscient goddess attempt to do something and the incarnate Savitri doing something. It is incarnate Savitri who alone can save this creation, can conquer death and suffering from this world. He who saved the world must be one with the world. All suffering things contained in this heart's peace, and bear the grief and joy of all that live. His soul must be wider than the universe and feel eternity as its very stuff, rejecting the moment's personality, know itself older than the birth of time. It came here long before time was born. Creation, an incident in his consciousness. He has to take human birth. He has to know that his birth is older than the birth of time. He must know that this whole creation is but an incident in consciousness. Creation, an incident in his consciousness. Arcturus and Belphegor, grains of fire, circling in a corner of his boundless self. The world's destruction, a small transient storm, and a calm infinity. It has become Arcturus and Belphegor in his reckoning are grains of fire. Nothing. Tiny little things only. Arcturus, one of the brightest stars in the sky. Star of star, not too far away from us, 36.7 light years away from us. It is a star in the constellation of Virtus. And it was known to the ancients also, since ancient times. The Greeks called it the guardian of the bear, guardian of Ursa, bear Ursa, and Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. Belphegor, one of the seven princes of hell. So these great figures, the great objects, the great beings, they are in the totality of this existence only small grains. Know thyself older than the birth of time, creation, and incident in its consciousness. Arcturus and Belphegor, grains of fire circling in a corner of its boundless cell, the world's destruction, a small transient storm in the calm infinity, it has become. Paris shall be destroyed. Paris shall be destroyed. That was the cry of Kali during the Second World War. She wanted to destroy Paris. It is that way the clock of destiny could be set back by 50,000 years. But then another force was set in opposition to that, and things took a different turn. And therefore, all that appeared was only a transient storm. The world destruction, Second World War, a small transient storm, and the calm infinity it has become. If Savitri could consent to that calm, then she would be doing something great. In fact, Savitri's advice was that if thou wouldst a little loosen the vast chain, draw back from the world that the idea has made. The world is made by life. The world is made by mind. The world is made by thought. It is not made by real idea. And therefore, you have to draw back from this world for a while. If thou wouldst a little loosen the vast chain, draw back from the world that the idea has made, the mind's selection from the infinite, thy senses gloss on the infinitesimal dance, then shalt thou know how the great bondage came, why things are changed here. That you will know if you are able to draw back from this world. Banish all thought from thee and be God's void. That is the injunction Savitri is getting through the voice of light. Banish all thought from thee and be God's void. Then shalt thou uncover the unknowable, and the superconscious conscious grow on thy tops. infinity's vision to thy gaze shall pierce. Your eyes shall look as would infinity would. Thou shalt look into the eyes of the unknown, find the hid truth in things seen, null and false, behind things known, discover mysteries rare. What is there behind things? The mystery, it is that rare part of mystery, that is what you discover. Thou shalt be one with God's bare reality. God alone, God alone. Thou shalt be one with God's bare reality. And the miraculous world He has become. And the diviner miracle still to be. Yes, if you withdraw, draw yourself from all these things, then you shall be the miraculous world that has become, and the diviner miracle still to be, when nature, who is now unconscious God, translucent grows to the eternal light, her seeing his sight, her walk his steps of power, and life is filled with spiritual joy, and matter is the Spirit's willing bride. That is what will happen if you withdraw for a while from this. Thou shalt be one with God's bare reality. You will see life is filled with spiritual joy. You will see that matter is the Spirit's willing bride. Satyavan had a difficulty. He saw the self, but he saw that matter had not discovered its Lord. Matter is the bride of the Lord, and matter is still away from its Lord. But now, and matter, the Spirit's willing bride, if you withdraw from all this, consent to be nothing and none, dissolve time's work, cast off thy mind, step back from form and name, nama, rupa, withdraw from that back, annul thyself that only God may be.